So my name is Yuri Zablowski, and I represent the National University of Ostroh Academy. Faster. And this is quite a small university located in the western part of Ukraine, in a small town, less than 10,000 people, and we provide educational services for about 300 students at our university. We are a classical university, and we have the standard set of departments, and the department that I have graduated from and still working at is the Department of Romance and Germanic Languages. The department has the bachelor and master programs, and we provide the following we give the standard language curriculum: English, German, French, some linguistic courses and some translation courses. Of course, I'm responsible for the practical side of translation direction, and these are the courses that we teach students at bachelor degree. Like the course is called Practical Aspects of Translation and Localization, and we deal mostly with CAT tools, TMS, a little bit of AVT, mostly subtitling and localization style guides. And there are a couple of courses that I conducted master degree. This is the names: CAT tools, terminology management, and translation project management. So we our department cooperates with some really famous and leaders in the world of translation and localization. And of course, XTRF is among them. So I would like to shortly present how did I get involved into XTRF, into cooperation with XTRF. And it started when some years ago, I was working as a freelance translator on some company. And the company was about 5 years ago, probably. The company was already using XTRF as their TMS platform, but they were in some kind of a transition period. And so the first thing that they introduced the XTRF, and what I realized that it was really user-friendly. It just took little time to get to know all the details and to be aware how to use the platform. Really user-friendly and intuitive platform. When I started delivering my uploading, translations and everything, so I realized that it's really practical, it's very convenient, and you don't need to comment additionally, to send any additional emails and everything. And one more interesting thing that I have noticed while cooperating, as I have already mentioned, they were in some transition period, and while sending tasks via vendor portal, they also used the traditional email notifications. So what I noticed was that, like, every time I got emails from different people, I don't remember exactly, but it was about 10 different PMs. And that was the moment when I realized that project management is quite a nice job opportunity for students, and I thought that it would be cool to engage this platform into my courses. So I started searching, I found some information, visited a couple of webinars, and then I found out about XTRF university programs, and so we are partners for about 4 years now. Unfortunately, I don't get any feedbacks from my ex-students, whether they are involved in this occupation and whether the course was successful. But so far, the translation in general and TMS industry, they are developing fast despite the issue with COVID-19. I think that we'll get good results soon. So let's move on to XTRF usage at my class. So basically, I will start with some basic principles. Maybe we'll talk more conceptually. And the first point that is very important is clarity. The XTRF platform is not an easy one to master, and at the beginning, very often students get confused That is why it's very important to clearly structure the initial phase of the course. Usually we start with mem source, is kind of a transition from CAD tools to TMS systems. So we start with mem source, we teach and work with mem source, and that is a very good beginning because students already know the basic terminology. Okay, and when they start working with XTRF, so they know most of the functions, what these words mean, and what do these functions perform, and that is a really good start. But still, the UI is very different. It's very different from what they have seen before, and usually just very simple mistakes, like they might forget what the button is and how to start a project, and that's why all these minor projects they need really careful planning and the presence of someone who can guide them. That's for sure a nice idea. That is why it is important to start slowly and explain everything in details. As soon as they get the general idea of how the platform is organized, so they are fine and they can carry out a complex project easily, no problem with that. The second basic principle, I would call it scope. Why? Because XTRF is a very complex tool that probably meets all the needs of modern translation agencies. It seamlessly connects clients and vendors and agency staff, and it contains all the necessary information within one system, like rates, language pairs, vendors availability, invoicing, everything in one space, and which is pretty convenient, I would say, but is a good option for LSP. But when I first encountered XTRF, my first impression was it was like a spaceship. It was so many of different functions, options, views, filters. I got a little bit confused because whenever I start opening a new option, a new page, I get dozens of more of them. And the list of user roles is just huge, and I don't really know what those people do in the system. And that was a little bit scary at the beginning. But then I realized that probably it's okay not to know every function, not to know every inch of this problem, and that's why the scope is important. That's why you have to focus on something that is important for you in some particular situation. For us, so far as we deal with translation mostly, and our students, they're possibly like linguists, professionals dealing with translation and the project management, we focused on project management functions. Of course, we looked at client and vendor settings, and we used a vendor portal as well. We did a little bit of invoicing, which is a little bit difficult for us because VAT and payment method and types, I don't really know a lot about that, but some basic level we did it because students like it very much. We also look at some basic system values just to demonstrate how customizable the system is. And I think that is quite enough. I mean, learning some basics within one system is quite a good approach. And when these people want to learn on ins and outs of this system or another system, having some base, they will do that. And we have the examples, because when we work with CAD tools, usually at the end of this CAD tool block, I ask my students to perform a project in some different tool, unknown tool. Usually we work with SmartCAD, And they have like 80 minutes, and 80 minutes include everything from logging in and creating a project, and then delivering the project, and like almost 100% successful. I mean, it's not a problem for them anymore. That is why I think that this practice, when you have, because really there are so many functions, and it might take years for me myself to get things under the hood. But on the other hand, I think that if, for example, XTRF would provide such courses or some certification for teachers or users as MemSource, for example, I would be glad to participate in and to know a little bit more. Modeling, of course, this is the main method that we used while learning and teaching this system. The studying process goes beyond real situation. We don't have much time to simulate like the brilliant idea that was developed by the previous speaker, like to simulate separate agency. We don't have it. And that is why we are pressed for time, and we have somehow to manage to do it in a shorter period of time. But the basics are the same. We model different roles for different students. The roles are briefly explained at the beginning, and then they kind of make a team, and they perform the project from the beginning till the end. One student is a client, another one is a PM, the third one is let's say translator. We have one more for proofreader, and they do all the cycle from the beginning till the end. And it really was okay. This approach worked fine when we were studying face-to-face. And it was a little bit more difficult when we went online. I mean, when the people have the space for communicating and for collaboration, for example, they are in a team, and they, of course, they can communicate and can make decisions. And if someone fails, if someone doesn't know how to start a project, let's say, other people can help. And that was a real problem. I mean, this collaboration part, when we went online, first of all, maybe partly to the platform that we used Google Meet, and Google Meet doesn't have separate options for group work, like Zoom, for example, and that was a little bit difficult because students often they got frustrated, and then I changed the strategy, and like we made everyone. Like the same student was client, PM, vendor, and everything. It seemed to work better because they didn't rely on others. Of course, from management and medical point of view, that was not the best decision, but it worked to some extent. It really worked. Maybe next year I should try using Zoom and breakout rooms, and it might work. But that was the problem. The cooperation was not much more difficult to explain things because it didn't change a lot, but this collaboration and communication process was a little bit broken. So talking about the process in general, how the process is delivered, it's pretty the same. It's pretty the same as was already presented. We work with client settings, PM settings, vendor settings, and we do not put all the information and details because it's just too much. Then we start with quote, like deadlines, assigning vendors, uploading files, calculating finances, using CAT analysis. Later, we turn quotes into projects, then students do their jobs at one, get their jobs at vendor portal, usually translate them with MemoQ, MemSource when we were online. Then they return the their jobs, then PMs send files to client. They do a little bit of invoicing, as I have already told. It's quite easy because VAT and all this stuff, and it's quite frustrating when you don't know that, but we focus on technicalities and technical sides, and students are really happy when they see this, invoices marked as fully paid, and they just to some reason they're happy. I don't know why. We do practice writing, making feedbacks, and doing evaluation for students. After doing a couple of manual projects, we do practice automation, automation way of making projects. And to conclude, I would say that there are many different TMS systems, of course, available for learning process, and we have chosen XTRF probably because it was the only one that I knew at that period. But such factors as home portal, client portal, vendor portal, XTRF Academy, regular webinars, great stuff with excellent communicating skills, Christmas cards, of course, and these events, they prove that it was a right choice. Thank you. If you have any questions, it looks like I've done it even faster than I planned. I would be happy to answer those.